came up with this. Look at their acronym. You guys understand? Nations of Kings and Priests. What would the acronym be there? No cap. Their acronym is no cap.
These scriptures like a roadmap, picture perfect Kodak. Alabama folding chair upside your head, whole lot. Remember Moses and them 2 Egyptian soldiers? Don't let me go back. Hats off, nations of kings and priests, no cap.
That's it. That's nice.
You sure about that?
I give you guys props on that.
What you say about us vocab? Truth is out, deuces out. Now they got the nooses out. Israel like the sand of the sea. Who can count us? Who can doubt the Most High? You can try, you can found it. Yahweh Shai, a life raft. Christ can save you from drowning, save you from you and you from losing. Psalms 94. Who gon' rise against the evildoers? The chosen still lost. The whole world is clueless. The suffix that pertains to this issue. No, we are not Jewish. Romans 9 and 4. If you need more of the Most High's influence. They telling hella lies, the revolution won't be televised. They missing Maccabees, they don't know we was Hellenized. Look me in my eyes, Jeremiah 23 and 21. The Most High didn't tell your pastor to prophesy. Don't make no mistake, Colossians 2 and 8. Let no man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Last days, knowledge increase, we see it in the book of Daniel. We in the information age and we got all this damn data. The devil in the details, tell you the details don't matter. They move the goalpost so many times, they put the goalpost backwards. You entitled to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. Satan, I see how you all in our conversation, but no prophecy of the scriptures if you need private interpretation. If the kingdom for every nation, why is 12 gates then? 21 and 12 in the book of Revelation. If the kingdom for every nation, why is 12 gates? And the people shall take them and bring them to their place in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Isaiah 14. And when this occurred, they shall take them captives who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressor. Yes, sir, we always ask this question but never get an answer. Only blank stares, now they trying to tell us how it ain't there. At the end of a daydream, we in the middle of a nightmare. They see we run the streets, nation of king and priest. We study every day, we do this every week. Spiritual warfare declared, we pray without ceasing, and we don't need a reason as long as we breathe. We bring the scriptures out. Don't need your ice of Jesus. We let the scriptures talk. Don't need your ice of Jesus.
That's not Christ. He's a man with power and authority. That's how he talks. Now let's go to Ezekiel. I don't want y'all brothers to get scared.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and 4.
Hey, shalom, family. I want to say Kahala Yahweh. Shai. All praises to the Most High. All right, we are No Cap Nations of Kings and Priests. All right. So today I'm doing something that if y'all ain't familiar with our channel, there's something that I've been doing. It's a book reviews, and then inside these book reviews, and the intention of the book reviews is to educate the nation of Israel, right? Sometimes we get caught up in what is said to us, and we don't necessarily do the proper investigation and stories and studying behind what we are saying. There seems to be a lack of accountability when we tend to quote something and not necessarily do our own research, right? So I've been doing these book reviews, right? And in the book reviews, I kind of go into different pages that I find that are very beneficial for what we teach, right? Especially when it comes to the Northern Kingdom. Northern Kingdom, who we deem to be the so-called native and the so-called Native Americans of the Western Hemisphere, right? Of Negroid and Indian descent. Okay, so today I'm going to do another book review. But to kind of talk about the book reviews, it's for y'all to look up these books, right, and do your own research um, that I have done. You know, I've purchased these books, I've done my research, and I've looked into them. And if I find it beneficial to the nation of Israel, well, guess what? I'm gonna let y'all know, right? So this is kind of the same thing. So today we're doing a book review of a brother that's in the nation from the ISUPK, Captain ChaaTaza, right? So he has a series of books called Indoctrination. And this is one of the books that we're going to be reviewing today. All right. It's Issachar, son of Jacob. All right. By Captain ChaaTaza. And it's, as you can see, it's not a large book, right? It's a, pretty small book. However, it has a lot of information. So what I did is create a PowerPoint with some of the information that this book has. But the intention is for y'all to go out and get it yourselves, and basically give you my, you know, my my outcome of what I think about the book, and definitely encourage y'all to do your own studies, right, on these type of books, because the information is there, right? The information is there, especially here in the Western Hemisphere. When we say that the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the Israelites, we're not discounting brothers and sisters from outside of the Western Hemisphere. Obviously, we know, prophecies like Isaiah 11 and 11, that our people are going to be in Africa, our people are going to be in Asia, in Europe. Okay, so we understand that there's migrations of Israelites that went to those areas. However, we know where Babylon is today, and that's a very important marker where the children of Israel are going to be in the last days. So it's imperative for us to bring this information out so that we could wake up the elect, so that it could give us closer to our liberation and our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, can come back and liberate our people, okay, from the condition that they're in, from the mental and physical slavery, okay? So we're going to go ahead and review this. I'm going to share my screen right quick, and we will jump right on it. All praise to the Most High. So let me see here. Okay. All right. Okay. So, like I said, this is a series of books. Very, they're very easy to find. They're not expensive books at all. Um, this is one of them. Another one that I have found that y'all can grab as well. Let me see. Here we go. This is a very good one too. It says, "We came from the east," and again, specifically speaking about the Northern Kingdom. But there are, and if y'all were, my bad, if y'all are privy to some of the book reviews I did in the past, there are countless records of information of of eyewitness accounts of the indigenous people here saying that they came from the east. And what I like about what Kataza does in his series is he brings out multiple bits of information. So it's kind of cool because you can it's kind of compiled. So again, do your research, look at these stuff, look at the books that where this information came from. So it's always a good thing to, stack up on your studies to make sure that you can defend, who the children of Israel are today. This is one of the determining factors, right? Um, so yeah, so like I said, Issachar, son of Jacob, and that's who we deem who 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 are the Israelites today. Okay. So in the beginning of the book, it says who we are. This is on page 2. I'm gonna read a little bit of it. I thought it was a good opening that we could start with, and it says so-called Mexicans of Indian or Negroid descent in their on their father's side are actually Israelites. Israel had 12 sons who became progenitors of their own tribe, collectively making up the nation of Israel. So-called Mexicans come from the tribe of Issachar. This is the true identity laid out by spiritual markers in the Bible through historians, anthropologists, and countless amounts of artifacts found throughout North, Central, and South America. In Genesis, the 49th chapter, Israel gave descriptions of what would befall his sons in the last days. The following proper interpretation of the verse itself and prophetic have what we deem today. So that's very important, right? So you got to understand, like some of this information. That I mean, the book is packed full of information. All I'm doing is highlighting a couple things I feel are important for y'all to learn. So this is what I thought was very very cool, and this is um this is on page. Hold on a second. This is on page 5, I believe. So he goes on to say in the Yucatan, the Mexican state is known for its Gulf Mexico beaches of Mayan ruins. Famed Chichen Itza encompasses a massive pyramid, ball court, and stone temples. The Mayan sites include El Balam, noted for a well-preserved sculptures, and Uclismial, where with the interface carved faces. Yucatan's capital of the largest city of Medellin has a Spanish colonial history reflected in buildings such as the 16th century's Medellin Cathedral. Google. It is not improbable that the Jews who were driven from Nineveh by Salmanassar wandered into uninhabited regions. According to Herrera, the Indians cherished the traditions that the Yucatan had been settled by the tribes from the Orient. And this is one verse, right, from a source. Here's another source. Watch this. Some old men of the Yucatan say that they have heard that their ancestors, that this country was peopled by a certain race who came from the east. Oops, my bad. You see that? Who came from the east, whom God delivered by opening from their 12 roads through the sea. If this is true, all the inhabitants of the Indies must be of Jewish descent. This is from Fiar Diego de la Manda, Yucatan before and after the conquest. Look at this, 1566. So this is an eyewitness account. This is a first eyewitness account because remember, they came here when? 1492. So this is what, maybe close to almost 70 years after they settled here. So they had 70 years that they were observing us when they came, and they observed us and said, no, these people got to be for the descendants. And we were then telling them we have ancestors that told us that we came from the east. You know what I'm saying? So crazy, again, eyewitness accounts, information that very vital to who we are. All right, I'll continue. So one quick thing that is on here, and again, as you saw earlier, it's a small book, but it packs a lot of information. And the information is, I mean, almost overwhelming, to be quite honest with you. I mean, there's a lot in here for such a small book, man. I mean, you'd be surprised, you know. But nonetheless, the information, and we're gonna grab a book later that it's in here, but the book itself, the information that's in it, the actual physical book, is going for $9,000. Okay, in other words, you have to for you to buy this book, you got to pay $9,000. Okay, nonetheless, we have some of the bits of information that it talks about um, in the book that Capt put out. So again, I think it's an easy buy. It's an easy, you know, I mean, for $20, man, you can't beat it, man. So um, so book references to Mexicans being Israelites. Bernard de Chauny. Bernard de Chauny was one of the very first preachers in New Spain, Mexico. He was also a Franciscan Spaniard. Now, I had to look that up. Franciscan Spaniard is one of those who actually came, who were deemed to conquer the land, and put out the religion of Catholicism and convert the Indians to Catholicism. That was their mission. That he was one of them. He was one of them that were deemed to have that mission. So that's what Franciscan Spaniard means. Okay, who spent 60 years amongst the Indians. He acquired a great proficiency in the knowledge of the Aztec language and history. Shokan, amongst his many other works, was most famous for his 4-volume compilation entitled General History of New Spain. Because y'all got to remember, when they came here, they wanted to either call it the New World or New Spain. Okay, it eventually, changed names. This region of the West, right? Um, One of the many facts that the Franciscan had brought out in his history in the support of the Aztecs being the lost tribes of the children of Israel was that Montezuma himself, king of the Aztecs, at the arrival of Hernando Cortez, Spanish conquistador, had related to him the fact that his ancestors came from the west, from the east. Both the Mexicans and the Peruvians were accustomed to take their sandals off whenever they stood upon holy ground or entered into the place of their kings. This arrangement and arbitrary custom between the two Indian nations, so remote from each other, other would seem to argue a common acquaintance on their part for their history of God's appearing to Moses at the burning bush and commanding him to take off his shoes because this place on which he stood was holy. And this is the marker and the Lord of Kingsborough, Antiquities of Mexico, 1830. That's where that information comes from. So you can see they'll bring out a custom, of what the natives did. It is certainty and very extraordinary to find that the Ocho Illustrated of Gulimia and Cortez voyages to the West Indies, that the Indian nations so remote from each other as to those Oroncho and the tribes who lived on the confines of Peru and the banks of La Plata, as well as the Chaquiques, a people. Chaquiques, they were part of the Incan tribes, and people situated between Peru and Tucucan, all those circumcised or circumcisions and strictly abstained from flesh of the swine. This is also in the same Antiquities of Mexico, 1830. So this book, another source verifying that our ancestors kept Levitical customs, including the dietary laws and the laws of circumcision. Again, very, very specific laws that only the Israelites were practicing. Okay. And if you wanna deem one, one characteristics or one civilization, taking their shoes off, or one civilization not eating pork, cool. But for them to do all this, and then he brings out examples of, the Aztecs and the Peruvians, which, I mean, they are far from each other. So how come they're keeping the same customs as each other? They may have minor differences, but then you see these and they are identical. So again, just bringing out information where you have these people practicing the customs, and they're so remotely in different locations in the Americas. So very good information. So here's another source that's in the book. Diego Duran, 1537, one of the more important chroniclers who lived in the 16th century of New Spain, a Dominican furrier born in Seville, who was raised in Texcoco and Mexico City. Duran wrote a three-part work of Historia de las Indias de Nueva España, Islas de la Tierra Firme, on the pre-Hispanic history of religion and calendar of the Aztecs, respectively. He based it on the indigenous manuscripts, including the Chronicles X, now lost, and hundreds of indigenous informants. He also had some assistants, probably monastery trained Nukas, who helped him gather, copy, and interpret information. He interviewed Spanish eyewitnesses who had been on the scene of the conquest. So this was a good source, a eyewitness account. Now, this picture that y'all see here in the on the left hand side, that is actually a depiction from the book. So that's a real depiction of Diego Duran, not of him specifically, but what he was observing. Man, look at those garments, man. Those are some beautiful garments, man. You see the lily, you see the fringes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the headpieces, you know. And again, these are priests with priestly garments. But I'll continue. It says Duran supported his belief in the identity of the Indians, through observation and their culture. He also is representable for translating the oral traditions of the Aztecs of Mexico. He included that the Indians must be descended from the Jews. His opinion was based on the strange and lowy conversation of the natives, their way of life, ceremonies, recites, superstitions, omens, and hypocrisies, all so like the Jews, that the Indians themselves must be Jews. This is, mind you, this is again an eyewitness account, 1537. So again, the resources are extremely early from their observance to the indigenous people here, and these are multiple sources, man. You know. So here's the book that I was talking about earlier. Okay. So this is King Edward Viscount. So these depictions are actually from the book. Look at this devil, man, on the right hand side. You see that? Damn devil, man. Nonetheless, okay. So who is this guy? It's Edward King Viscount. Um, Kingsborough, 16th of November, 1795, 27th of February, 1837, was an Irish antiquarian who sought to prove that the indigenous peoples of America, were a lost tribe of Israel. His principal contribution was in making available fantasies of ancient documents and some of the earliest explorers' reports on pre-Columbian ruins and Mayan civilizations. So check this out, y'all. Hold on, let me go back here. This is crazy stuff. Check out the price of this book, y'all. I wanted to show y'all because it's ridiculous the amount of this book. Again, it was King Viscount, right? Check this out. And you can look this up yourselves. But here we go. Okay. So sell for auction, your Viscount Kingsborough, the same guy, right? Antiquities of Mexico, 1830, 49 volumes, right? Over 20,000 at Nate Sanders auctions. $20,000, yo. And they show like you can actually put a bid in for the book. But they look at this. Some of them were sold for $175,000. So whoever has this book has this information, man. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of show you like depictions. This is what I was showing y'all on the screen. But these are actual depictions inside the book. Okay. But look at some of these prices, man. I mean, it's crazy. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Sold for $9,000. And look at the depiction, yo. America, the New World, empires, plantations, yo. It's crazy. So again, man, it's nice to, you know, grab some information on a brother, support 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 Israel, man. Support Israel if they, if we are doing something that can benefit the nation, definitely support, man. But I think I got one more slide to go through on this one real quick. All right. So let's go back to that book. So this is another depiction from the book. Okay. I know it looks kind of odd, but so Viscount Antiquities of Mexico. Remember, they were mining this book for like $175,000, man. Many customs of the Mexicans strongly savoring at Judaism, besides that of circumcision, having already been noticed, such as their wearing fringes fastened to their garments, practicing frequent obligations, attending constant public places of worship to which they were summoned by the blowing of horns, okay, as the Jews were in the synagogues, anointing themselves with oils. I mean, come on, man. Addressing each other with application of brother and sister. We're actually calling ourselves brothers and sisters. Their priest allowing their hair to grow long like Nazarites, through some were too too short. They're frequently doing penance, sowing dust on their heads, which is for mourning, and blackening themselves with ashes, and a sign of mortification, and eating earth. Isaiah 59 and 23 at the festival of Tequalan. Man. So again, just another example of, you know, of some of the information of a book. I know I can't afford that, but that is a very expensive, but nonetheless, it's in here. You know what I'm saying? So some of that information is in here. Okay, and again, it's not a large book. It's a pretty um, you know pretty thin book, but again, packs a lot of information. Just a disclaimer: I'm not paid to do these things. I do these things because I love my God and my nation and my people. But I feel, there's anything beneficial to the nation of Israel, well then, we're gonna do it. And again, I'm not affiliated with ISUPK. They're an organization by themselves. Shout out to them brothers. ChaaTaza, amazing job on this. And again, he has other. I'm gonna do another book review on this because this is a very very cool book. It's actually from the East. We came from the East, so be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the channel. There's going to be other things that are going to be coming out, but nonetheless, like I said, you know, um, just doing it because I think it's beneficial to the nation of Israel. Definitely worth getting. Uh, you know, uh, we gotta make sure that we're studying more, man, and make sure that we're on top of our studies. I'll give you an example, like this book right here. This is a Christopher Columbus notes book. This is a very important book as well. As you can see, I'm already digging in, right? I already got my little tabs on it. So, very good information in this book, which I'll be doing another book review. I encourage y'all to buy these books. They're not expensive, okay? So, definitely encourage you to buy these books. But nonetheless, I hope y'all like that presentation. Definitely, encourage y'all to buy that book. Be on the lookout for more. Subscribe. All praise to the Most High. We are No Cap, Nations of Kings and Priests. Kwam Yasha Allah.